I can see you guys now.
Great.
There
Hey,
you go.
welcome everyone to week 6 of our belated week 6 of our training here, our leadership experience. My apologies again for last week. Life really happened, and life just kept happening. I haven't even told everybody everything. So not only did I have this pain event, and then I had the surgeon's appointment, I had the party, I went to Detroit, I successfully, praise the Lord, because y'all were praying for me, made it through Detroit, no more pain events while I was there or since. I do have surgery scheduled for, right now it's scheduled for later in November. I have a whole bunch of pre-surgery kinds of testing and things I need to do. But then on my birthday on Friday, 2 people died. My uncle and one of the guys I dated in high school, who I'd stayed friends with. So I just was like, really? Last week. But I said on the day after my birthday, I said, I'm choosing hope, and I'm going to just keep plugging along, keep just letting Satan know he can't win. He's not going to have victor. I know who has victory, and that's who I'm keeping my feet rooted into. So I do appreciate y'all's patience. I felt sad, but I just knew I didn't have the ability to pull off this video last week, and I didn't have, just even with the conference schedule alone. And we brought Nicole's kids with us to Detroit, so that was another layer of cray-cray. It was fun, though. We were glad to have the kids there, so now they're little community developers, too. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about sharing your story and about sponsoring. And so, you all know, and you get this, I could spend a month of Sundays talking about these topics, especially the sponsoring piece. There's just not enough time, it feels like, or enough, like everybody wants all the content, right? Everybody wants kind of the tips or tricks, but the reality is, you're going to be hearing some of the same things you've been hearing from me before about sponsoring. Sponsoring is really about telling your story in a concise, kind of engaging way. And it's about putting yourself in context of building relationships. Because if you don't meet people, you don't have people to ask to be on your team. Because the people in your hot circle, the people around you, they only want to hear about it for so long. So we really need to be out in those, circles of influence or wider, like the B crowd or the C crowd, or even people further out who I would have never, ever met if it wasn't for Trades of Hope. So, but we're going to start off by talking about sharing your story, because as Mary Christensen says from this book that I've been going through with the director's team, there's no better way to position your products, your business, and yourself than by sharing your story. And all of us who are marketers, if it's in direct sales or other spheres of the business world, people are selling products every day by telling stories. Now, and what people are looking for and what people are impacted by are real stories told by real people having real life experiences. So I know, like when I was using Weight Watchers, I wanted those stories of girls who look like me, my height, my weight, and I wanted to read their story about how they were changed, what changed it for them. I really didn't want someone to philosophize. I wanted to hear how it was changing people's lives, and people who I could connect with. So that's one of the things that we have. So like every other direct sales business, people are talking about, Rodan Fields is talking about how they're changing your skin or growing your eyelashes. Pampered Chef is talking about how they're making your cooking easier and more fun at home. I mean, everybody's giving some way of making this real. What's cool for us in Trades of Hope is we have 2 real stories, right? We've got the real stories that we get to tell about our artisans. I did an event last night and I was talking about these fingerprint earrings and the beloved necklace. And that is really compelling to people, that they can see those fingerprints. They can see that somebody actually made that, and then they can learn the story about how it's changed their lives. And then I can talk about my story. I can talk about how my life has been changed by becoming a compassionate entrepreneur at Trades of Hope. And the best way to have successful stories is really to engage it in three ways. One, it's that you need to make sure that you're connecting with your audience, that they connect with you, that they're able to communicate your message, and that they continue on to that next step. But we have, like I said, we have a unique connection to stories, because it's not just about my personal life transformation. It's not just about the trips I take or my bank account, but this is really about it's the whole with her, for her, with her, right? The hashtag we've been using. But when you're going to events, if it's parties or speaking engagements, women's groups, whatever, the key here for us is always building rapport, connecting with your audience, getting to know the people. And so that's why it's really important to have a short setup time before your party, so you actually have time to connect with people as they're coming in the door. I just met with a couple of new CEs recently, and one of the girls said it took her an hour and a half to set up her display. I was like, sweet baby Jesus, no, you're not going to have, I mean, she has been sponsoring, but I was like, people are not going to want to keep following you doing this if they think it takes an hour and a half to do it. So, but and Erin has that great video on how to set up your party display in 10 minutes. And I've worked it, and I would say I'm not at like 8 or 10 minutes like she is. I'm probably more like 12 or 15, but that's still, I have people comment all the time now, wow, you really put that together quickly. And oh my gosh, I can't believe how quickly you packed that up, because I have this very concrete system. And I've seen the improvement, that I'm not like sweating and freaking out about the display being done and seeing people walk in that door, but instead I can be present with people. And that building rapport is so important. You're kind of doing like a pre-interview with everybody in that room as they're coming in. How do you know so-and-so? What do you do? Oh my gosh, you're just so beautiful. I love the way in which you accessorize. And I start to target people that I'm going to ask to be my models. Like I get people to stand up and I do the destination wrap tie thing into the vest, or I'll show like how you can wear the agave wrap as a shrug and some things like that. I also have started asking some people to like model my pieces, wear the pieces during the party, and then I have them stand up and I talk about the pieces on their friends or on the other guests. But in doing that, then I get to find out a little bit more about this person, who they are, what they do, what they like about their job, what they don't like about their job, and starting to kind of figure out who works outside the home, who stays at home, who combines the two, why they decided to come. Maybe tonight they just were coming to get out of the house. You know, they're looking for a little adult conversation and wine, you know, or something like that. So, and one of the things you really want to do in sharing your story, and not everybody is going to be, you know, like the comedian in the crowd, but we do need, like, laughter is the best icebreaker. And so maybe at the start of a party, you know, you ask people like who needed some, you know, kid-free time tonight, you know, like who was looking for a little cocktail of like friends and and hope, you know, like something, get people to like kind of loosen up and be able to make a connection with you, and to be able to make a connection with being there. And any mom, you know, who's going to be there, is you can you can start by telling your story, like how many of you are a full-time mom, you know, and you can say, you know, for me, actually my full-time job is having my kids, and I call this my sanity job. And, you know, I listened to somebody like Erin Woods talk about, or Cindy has talked about this, like having this work as a compassionate entrepreneur has been a personal cup filler outside of the routine busyness of the day. And then for people who are full-time, you know, one of the things you can say to people is, the only time I think about returning to my old job is never, you know, and I can say that for myself. Like Trees of Hope has really freed me up to do something purposeful, provide for my family, know I'm making a difference in the world. And I'm not on the Parkway North. And around here, I can talk about that and people moan and groan. They understand the highway here that is just absolutely, the traffic in Pittsburgh is absolutely the worst. So you want to find ways to connect with the crowd so that they get your story and you're starting to get theirs. When you're communicating your message, though, you want to work on less is more. the business is not about finding the right words. The business is about finding the right people. And so the reason why you want to share your business story is you want people to, while they're listening to you, to be having some of these kinds of thoughts going through their head. You want them to think, I'd love to do something like this. Or this is exactly what I've been looking for. Or it's time to quit working for someone else and start working for me. Extra income would be great for our family. This sounds like a lot of fun. I wish my husband could hear this. I hope I get to ask some questions. I wonder if she'll ask me. And I know for me, when I heard Erica present at a party that Nicole was having in May of 2014, I sat there and I thought, genuinely, I mean this, I thought, I could do what this woman's doing. I didn't know Erica from like the Pope. You know, she was just a nice lady. I knew she was my friend's sister-in-law, but she was just some nice lady. And she started telling me stories. And I was like, and I never in a million years ever wanted to work for any direct sales company of any sort. I was not a fan. But this has been, it was such a different way of thinking about adding income and changing the world at the same time. Now, one of the things that's really important when we're thinking about telling our story, I was saying short and sweet is what people are looking for. They want something they can connect to. And there is an effective way of talking about, and I didn't realize I've actually been doing this in my party presentations for a while, but you can say something, there's 3 phrases you want to, or words you want to kind of tuck into your talk, your presentation of your own story. It's I am, but, and so. So an example is, I am, and this is what I did when I was still with Presby. I'm a full-time palliative care social worker, and I love the work I get to do with patients and families. But I find not having control over my work week schedule and the Parkway North, being on that 12 to 15 hours a week, I find that difficult. And it's not promoting the quality of life that I want. And so what I decided to do is I'm working towards transitioning out of full-time social work by working my business as a compassionate entrepreneur. Another example might be, I am a stay-at-home mom, and I'm grateful that my husband has a good job, but it seems everything he earns gets eaten up by our bills. And so this business pays for the extras that we enjoy as a family. And this year I'm working towards a trip for my family to go to Disneyland or Legoland or, you know, the mountains to hike or whatever the thing is for your family. But that I am, but, and so. And so that didn't take a long time to tell my story, right? I was a full-time social worker, and now I'm working as a part-time hospice social worker. And while I love my patients and the work I get to do, Trades of Hope gives me so much more joy. So I'm working my business, I'm growing my team so that I can be able to do this full time and still provide for my family while I change the world. You know, like there's my whole story. You know, it didn't take more than a minute. So you'll notice that every story is one of personal growth too. So don't be afraid to show vulnerability. Don't be afraid to say, like, you were inspired by people who, or we all are inspired by people who conquer adversity and they triumph over challenges. And so the wider you cast your net, the more people you're going to find who are going to find your offer appealing. So keep your personal testimony brief so that you will allow your time to be able to reach out to other people with different ambitions. So, you know, you can reach out, you could ask people, like, what would you like to have different in your life? You know, what would you like to be able to do if you had $500 more in your family's monthly income? You could start getting people to imagine or dream how this could change their family's life while they change other people's. It's not enough to talk about what Trades of Hope has done for you. You have to get your audience to start thinking about what working with Trades of Hope would do for them. Our personal story is valuable in the presentation, but it's not enough. So you have to get people to start thinking about how is doing this business going to benefit them? And maybe you've picked up on some of those things in the pre-party conversations, and then you've used this as examples, maybe not without identifying Elizabeth or Kathy, but to be able to say, these are the kinds of things I hear from women every day, that they want to have more time with their families, but they have the burden of credit card debt. So, what if you got to go out of your house once a week to do a party, and over the course of the month, you're able to raise an additional $500 to be able to pay off your family's debt? What would that look like for you and your family? What would that do for your mind and your heart, and start getting people to imagine, oh my gosh, I could go out and have adult conversation. I could meet with other awesome women. I could have fun with a woman like this presenting, and this is a great group of people, and I could provide for my family. So you want to help them kind of connect the dots and imagine. The more compelling your message is, the higher your sales are going to be too. So there's kind of like a bonus to it. Because you're not just selling stuff, you're selling an experience. You're selling a lifestyle, really. I mean, it's one of the reasons, one of my hashtags on my Facebook personal page is my TOH life. And I want people to see like the things I'm getting to do. Like I couldn't have done this. I'm talking to some girls I used to work with at Presby, and I couldn't have just taken off for a conference for 4 or 5 days in the middle of a week when I was at the hospital. That would have been like so involved to try to get the PTO off, and it would cut in on my family time. I mean, my vacation time, which would affect my family time. But now that I'm working part-time at a job that I can control, both Trades of Hope and hospice, I have so much more flexibility and autonomy to be doing the things that matter to me. So help people to see how, the compelling nature of owning their own business, because you either work for someone else or you can work for yourself. And that, when I read that, I was like, yes, I like being my own boss. So questions that you can ask at a party to get people to start thinking, or in a conversation, a coffee date, is, who dreams of quitting their day job? People in America do that every day. Who dreams of retirement? People spend 20, 30, 40 years miserable in the work that they're doing. They're living for retirement. How many people die right after they retire? I can't even handle that. The statistics are quite high. Well, why don't we can start helping people live the life they want now. I look at people like Spring Mingy. She and her husband, they have pulled back their budget, made a very sparse budget. They've scaled down their lifestyle, and he quit a job that he was miserable at, and it was affecting the whole quality of the life of their whole family. And she's a manager with Trades of Hope. They are living off her salary. So they made some lifestyle choices that has promoted a much better quality of life for their whole family and has helped keep it better intact. So, we can help people think about, and for her, she's going towards director. She's going to continue to be the main breadwinner in their family. Or Jess Argensinger, whose husband's plan is to be retiring from teaching here soon. He would retire a lot sooner than Russ. They're much younger than us because Jess's annual income is such that she'll be able to replace his. So who dreams of quitting their day job? Who wants a lifestyle that's bigger than their paycheck? Meaning it's much more meaningful than just this, working the 8 hours to get your paycheck, that you're doing something that's really meaningful. What difference would $200, $500, $1,000 in a week or a month make for you, your life, your family? And if you could change one thing about your job, what would that thing be? And so to listen to that and see how it is you could connect that to Trades of Hope business. Well, if you were your own business owner, if you were a compassionate entrepreneur, here's how you could be in control over that. So you want to make sure that your questions are focused, because they are the best way. A focus question is a good shortcut to getting that feedback that you want from people. And it helps limit the rambling or the tangential conversations that unfold. So those are some things about sharing your story that you're going to, and getting people then to connect your story with theirs and be able to take things hopefully further. So, okay, sorry, got a little text message there from Holly. It's so fun when you can hear from them. So the next piece in terms of sponsoring, the reality is we have to learn to work the numbers in direct sales. We have to believe in everyone, but rely on no one, because we just never know what life's going to hand people and who's going to be able to continue to do this work. So what that means for me is I have to keep sponsoring. Just because you hit director, it's not done. In fact, I don't know that I'll hit director this fall. That's my goal this month and next, but I need to have one person hit manager each month. I have to have 8 branches sell $1,000 or more, and we as a group volume has to sell $50,000 or more. So I've been doing everything in my power to motivate the team. And I'm not working to be a director for status or simple. I mean, it's one of the paths to get me to be able to work full-time with Trays of Hope, is to be able to draw on that kind of income. But I do it too because it's so meaningful. I love connecting with awesome women like you. I love giving people the opportunity to see that they can grow a business. I like being able to use my God-given leadership abilities in this way to empower others. So, so I have to work the numbers. I have to be thinking about these same things all the time. So as I'm thinking about, one of my goals is to, between September 1 and the end of the year, is to invite 10 more, or not invite, but to have 10 more people join as a personal sign-on with me. So I'm working towards that. But the reality is the more people you ask, the more people that say yes. Now, that doesn't mean everyone says yes. Rejection goes with the territory. And if you're not hearing no, you're playing it too safe. Like, that's just the reality. Some recruits are going to come easy and others are going to take more effort. So, like for Cindy, I didn't even try to recruit Cindy. She just asked me what I was doing. and then she joined very quickly. And I've got a couple women that I've been talking with, one woman since February and 2 other women for over a year now. And I keep inviting them to the Discovers, and they keep saying, don't let me go, Shelby, don't cast me to the side. The timing, I think, for them hasn't been right. Part of it is we need to just keep having that conversation. There is no perfect time. This is always if you want to grow your business and impact people's lives, it's going to require some time. And once you make the decision to do it, you'll find that. But some come easy, some take more effort. But the goal for you and I is that we have to stay optimistic. We have to remember that I'm not creating a need, but rather I'm meeting a need. So, and with more than 100,000 new direct sales sellers out there joining daily, I mean, that's Mary's number, is that I've heard 83,000 people join direct sales companies every day. Regardless, it's a lot of people, right? And with Trades of Hope, if anyone says that it's saturated, they're crazy. We have over 5,000 CEs. That's some people's team, like Tupperware or whoever, So we're babies. But for us, our job is to offer the business. And because when I'm doing that, and this is something that I've been thinking about more and more, we're paying a compliment to somebody when we invite them to join our team, when we invite them to become a compassionate entrepreneur. Even if it's somebody who's already been in some other direct sales company. But it's really at those parties that we're having, and this is one of the reasons why I've been pushing bookings in September and October, is that if we aren't at parties, if we aren't at events where we're connecting with people, we are not going to meet people to share the opportunity with. That's just the reality of it. There's only so much you can do. Facebook, I can tell you, I was just talking to a new CE the other week about this. She's like, how much business do you get from your Facebook page? I said, very, very little. My business, the heart of my business is being at a party. Being at a party, meeting a whole new slew of women, and then finding hostesses there to introduce me to a new slew, and it keeps going and keeps going. You are not going to grow your business. You're not going to grow your team if you're not partying. It's just the reality. And Facebook parties are helpful, but Facebook parties are not really. Anybody who's a leader in Trades of Hope we are meeting with people face to face in their living rooms at a coffee shop. We are having time with 2 hours to be able to connect with them and to connect them with Trades of Hope. And that's where we're finding people. So the more people you meet, the more people you're going to sponsor. I literally had people ask me at Inspire and at Empower, what's the magic bullet, Shelby? What are those 3 things that they're looking for, the tricks, the 3 little buttons they could hit? And I said, I have to do just what you have to do. I just have to have a party, and I have to meet people. I have to tell a story and invite them into it. So talking to people is the only way to generate business. Your profit from sales can be anywhere from $1,000 to $500, let's say, because of a party presentation. But if you do your job right, you're going to meet your new recruit at your next party. So think of it as you're being paid to recruit. And other businesses, they're not getting paid to recruit, right? That is one of the things when we are there, we need to be looking for those women to be able to partner with us. And I do invite absolutely everyone, even like old grannies, like the little lady no, you are young, Nancy. I'm talking about the little ladies who are walking in with walkers. Like, I invite them all to join my team. Or I said, would you like to learn about the business and becoming a compassionate entrepreneur? Or I bet you know somebody who would love this company. So, because maybe what they become is a referral source for me. So as much effort as you put into attracting your next recruit at the party, it's going to be a lot easier to do that than making a cold call this afternoon. Because you're there, you're building that relationship, you're having a good time, all that. And your next recruit, this is so true. Christy Townsend talks about this. Your next recruit, when you're at that party, they've seen your whole presentation. You've already given them the best training you could give them. They've seen you do the whole kit and caboodle from start to finish. So you don't even have to have someone doesn't have to go shadow with you. They've already have an understanding of how a quality party presentation happens. And so that's been really fun when I've met those folks at parties. And then Christy and Maggie Townsend talk about that's been their reference point for how they've done their parties. And that's the only party I've been with them at, except for one that I went to observe them because I wanted to see Maggie doing that presentation in person at 14. Sponsoring is about being at the right place at the right time. There's no downside to maintaining a consistent schedule of parties, presentations, and face-to-face coffee dates. So that is, for me, that's what I'm thinking about all the time. Who can I be connecting to? And not everybody that I'm talking to is close by. I can't always meet with them or even party with them in person, but I can use Facebook. I can invite somebody, hey, why don't we Zoom together this week? And any of you can use Zoom. You can do up to 40 minutes for free. Because you've already logged in. You don't have to pay for it. At this point, I wouldn't spend my money on it that way. But you can use this as a format because you can see each other, enjoy one another, or FaceTime or whatever works for you. So I'm using Facebook a lot to be able to connect with people at a distance to be able to introduce them to the experience. Now, one of the greatest advantages of direct selling is how easy it is to join. But it also means it's really easy to leave. And so this was really helpful for me to read in Mary's book because I just was feeling, and I'm classic to what she was saying here. I was feeling sad. I was like, why wouldn't you want to keep working with Trades of Hope? It's the most incredible company I've ever encountered. But the reality is we're not immune to what's going on in the direct sales world. The same thing happens here. most likely you're going to have a revolving door in your business. People are going to come in, and the industry average is half of all the recruits that come into a company stop working the business within 3 months. With us, I would say it's probably more like 4. A lot of people lose their passion after the SMART starts over. And we talk about this on a leadership level. The goal for us, especially us who are leaders and recruiting people, is to help people see the incentives aren't the end all. The chicks and the water wheel aren't the end all. The end all, what incentivizes me every day is making sure women around the globe have a job so that they can provide for their families. Now, the incentives are fun and they're exciting. And I was actually at dinner the other night with a couple CEs, and I was almost feeling like I had to convince them, because they're like, why can't these go for 4 months or 6 months? I was like, because those really aren't we can't keep working for a prize. And the chicks are a prize of sorts. It's kind of like a badge of honor, right? You get the little pin on your lanyard. What is more important is that we are working in partnership for her, with her every day. And because our artisans truly see us as partners, and they're expecting that of us. They want that from us. So half of them will be gone most likely in 3 months, 3 or 4 months. 4 out of 5 will be gone often by the end of the first year. And Mary said, this is normal. This is healthy. That's part of what is kind of the benefit for people in the direct sales world. It has this open door policy for anyone over 18. And so when you accept that people are going to come and they're going to go, some are going to perform a little and some are going to perform a lot, and some are going to stall before they even get to the starting gate. I mean, I've brought on a couple of people in the last few months. They never even had their launch party and they already quit. So, then the choice is, we have a choice there. What are we going to do about that? Am I going to take that personally? No, I can't. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about their life. And maybe this just isn't the time for them. So folks, what I do with them is I transition them back into being hostesses. If they've been a hostess at all. If they haven't, maybe they become a first-time hostess. And I definitely keep them connected as customers. I put them in my VIP club. I want them to see me keep working my business too, because they can always come back, So you can't control what your team members do, but the only security you have is in numbers. So that's why we have to keep sponsoring. And then the beauty of Trades of Hope is it doesn't matter how wide or deep your team goes, but it's the width of your team where you're going to have the most benefit. You'll get the higher commission off of your personal sign-ons than that person like 3-4 generations that levels down. And by always having new CEs join your team, it helps you maintain and grow rank, because people are striving for that $1,000 chick, that $1,000 water wheel or whatever. And when you have those branches, because that's such an important piece, when you're always having people who are striving, and hopefully you'll find more people like yourselves. Maybe you'll find more people all right, Cindy, we'll miss you. Maybe you'll find more people like yourself who really want to be with Trades of Hope for a long haul. I am looking for those folks to be on my team and go the long haul, run this as a marathon with me, because that's what our artisans need. But those sprinters, they have had an impact. But my first girl last year who hit the 10,000 and provided the schooling, she did it in 92 days. She hit $10,000. And then she did all kinds of exciting stuff. Those things aren't at a loss. We're transitioning her into being a hostess now. We'll continue to change the world together, and maybe she'll find that time works for her again in the future. My job is to be positive, encouraging, keeping her connected, and to not take those things personally, to not isolate, get fearful, act awkward. Life happens. So when you're doing a party, the thing you have to remember is giving equal time to sponsoring. You have to focus time and energy on sponsoring during your presentation, just like you are on sales and booking parties. So sales, Mary Christensen is famous for saying this: sales are my income for today. Scheduling parties is my income for tomorrow. And sponsoring is my income for forever. So when that's really helps us understand why sponsoring is so important. For those of us who want the longevity of this, we want to do this, have this be our career, we need to sponsor, and we can't rely on just those initial people who join. We have to always be inviting people. So give equal time, thought time, show time, and talk time to sales, bookings, and business. And when you focus on these things, your audience then will focus on those things as well. And one of the things Erin Woods does, she's kind of ballsy. She's like, I'm going to invite everybody at the beginning of her presentation. She says, I'm going to invite everybody here tonight to have a party with me, and I know that you will. She just speaks truth into people. Well, she's a national executive director. Must be working, right? So every day when you're getting up and you're thinking about your IPAs, you're thinking about your work day as a CE, the questions you have to ask yourself is, what am I going to do today to generate sales? What will I do today to generate more bookings? And what will I do today to generate more business leads, connections with potential CEs? And those questions should be shaping our IPA activities, our income producing activities. And even going into a party, saying, okay, and this is your goal. I'm going to go in this party. My goal is to sell $500 to secure 3 bookings and to find 2 potential contacts, 2 potential recruits. And when you go in with that kind of plan, the kind of positive thinking, then that helps you be able to see and figure out and kind of suss out who might play those different roles with you. And make sure that you position your business prominently. And I would say I have not always done a good job of this, but I've been trying to do this more. So I do have my hostess bags. I used to kind of set them on the side, and they even had like tissue in them and everything. But now I put them right in my party presentation table. And then I point to those, that when you book a party with me, I've got a little gift in there and everything you need to start your party strong. And the other thing is putting the business opportunity packets. Those are really nicely constructed pieces, and I really need to change that. That's something that I've been thinking about. I need to put that right smack dab in the middle of my table so anybody could pick that. I would love for them to leave with that rather than my business card, because then maybe they'll read that and consider it for themselves or share it with someone else. And don't get caught out in public and not have things on hand. I think about my mom friends and that diaper bag, right? Your diaper bag has to be filled with wipes and diapers and a change of pants, or you're going to be toast at Target. Like, let's be honest, or at church or wherever. Well, my purse is like my Trays of Hope diaper bag. Before I leave the house, I take a peek, and if I don't have at least 2 catalogs and 3 or 4 opportunity packets, I have one opportunity packet has like 3 order forms in there. Until they were all gone, I kept a whole big stack of the summer inserts. I passed those suckers out like candy because they're past due now, right? But people still can see products we're selling and get my contact information. But I have had times when I wasn't prepared, and I chose to turn around, go to my car, come back in with the item. Or Russ he now catches the nonverbal cues, and I see him leaving. He's going to the car if I don't have my purse on me. But it is, and I carry those little mini books in my purse. So I'm always prepared, because the business cards, they're not bad, but the reality is business cards get lost in the bottom of our bags, right? And people kind of shuffle around. But that mini book or an old catalog or the opportunity packet, those are all larger, more predominant, and they all have ways for people to understand who we are and what we're doing. So you're looking to make sparks with people. We want to also be thinking about direct invitations to join, in terms of when you're doing your presentation, you're sharing your personal story, you're talking a little bit about Trades of Hope, you're sharing some of our artisan stories, and then you're inviting people to change the world the 3 ways that they can shop, they can party, and they can join your team. And then you're creating space to be able to connect with people. When I do that checkout time, I literally have 2 chairs, even if it's 2 folding chairs just facing each other. I set myself aside with people, and I ask them, oh, please sit down. And I am extending some hospitality and some conversation. And then when I go to ask them to party and to join my team, it's natural. Like it's just kind of like a couple friends hanging out as I'm wrapping up their order. So, but the thing is people do need a direct invitation. And I have heard people say, when I've said, would you be interested in changing the world of Trades of Hope by partying with us and allowing your friends and family to learn more about this company? I've had people say to me, oh my gosh, thanks so much for asking. I was thinking how nice it would be. But they needed that invitation. They needed somebody to say, will you do this with us? Or have you ever thought about working with a direct sales company, adding a home-based business to your family's income, and being able to invite that conversation and even just to say to someone too, pay those compliments, you've been a lot of fun tonight, or you're really beautiful, and I can tell you love wearing beautiful things. You came, accessorized so nice this evening. How fun would it be to have you doing this in partnership with us? Is this something that you would enjoy? So you want to create sparks. You want people during your presentation and while you're talking with them to be thinking about this job and how it would connect for them. Every decision we make to change our lives starts with a spark that ignites. And your sparks, they make a difference. They have to make a direct hit on that prospect's interests and circumstances to be effective. So you want people to be thinking, like I was thinking with Erica, gosh, I could do what this lady is doing. Or gosh, this is such a refreshing way to do direct sales. Or you want them to be thinking, I could do this. I love this. This sounds like my dream job. I wonder how much it costs to start. So you want to be able to be putting your story out there in an energizing, positive way that ignites those things. You want them to be able to ask you some engaging questions, or you want to ask them engaging questions that gets to think about how Trades of Hope could step into the gap of their life and help fulfill things. So you ask things, if you could change one thing about your job, what's the first thing you would do? If you had $1,000 in your pocket right now, what would you spend it on? How different would your family's life be if you had no credit card debt or school loan debt? If you could make one family dream come true, what would that be? And then to help them connect the dots with how Trades of Hope could help fulfill those questions. And another tip is don't be shy of going after busy people, successful people. Those people that we put in the box and we think, oh, they're kind of the untouchable. I better not ask them. Shelly Massey, maybe 2 months ago, right after Empower, she came home and she made a list of the 10 most successful women she knows in her community. And she has been approaching them to ask them to join. And for her, it's been a good, strengthening kind of personal challenge. But don't be shy from asking them. High performers have a confidence that comes from understanding that a winning attitude transfers from one profession to another. And even it's been surprising to learn, and I've been seeing this in some training videos I've been watching, how many people have said, I left my job as an attorney to become, whatever direct sales. I've left my job. I mean, lots of people leave their jobs as teachers because they want to be home with their kids. People didn't like the rat race of what they were doing, and so they've decided to do something where they can be their own boss. But when you're looking at people who are talented and ambitious, you play out the story for them. With your successful track record, I imagine that you could have any job that you wanted. Can I ask you a question? With all the skills that you have and experiences, why are you working for someone else? Why aren't you working for yourself and being the owner of your own business? And that, even just saying that to you all here does something for me. Why would really talented people want to be kind of enslaved to somebody else's demands, schedules? You can't vacation when you want a vacation. You can't control how much a raise you get, because you're caught by these kind of corporate standards and whatnot. The other thing is, don't spill all the beans. Don't give somebody all the details the first time you meet them, but rather whet their appetite and make sure that you set up a time to connect with them in the next 48 hours, because you want to connect with them in that 48-hour period of time, because they're still thinking about their time with you. They're still excited. They're still mulling over pieces of that conversation. And so in connecting with them, you are trying to build some rapport, trust, likability. But when you follow up in those 48 hours, that says a lot about you and the kind of partner you're going to be, the kind of teammate you're going to be too. And you want to connect while that passion, while that fire is so hot. Make it easy for people to join your team. Let people know, you can direct them to me. You can start this business while you're working full time, 45, 50 hours a week, and have a 12 to 15 hour commute. I mean, you're welcome to share my story. That's how I started Trades of Hope. I was living that lifestyle until April of last year. But how people see this could be an alternative to working overtime, that there's tax breaks that come from owning your own business. There's opportunities for extra income. It's just a new career path without the cost of retraining. And maybe this is just something where they are stuck in that job because they have a pension coming or whatever, but this could be a diversion. This could be something that adds to the quality of their life and something fun that they can do, maybe by partying once a week, a couple times a month, something like that. All right, let's see here. Get to know your hostess's guest who's coming and find out who's going to be there. 90% of the people who join direct sales companies are hostesses, guests at parties, existing customers, teachers, artistic creative types, nurses, social workers, engineers, former cheerleaders, former direct sellers, and moms, because 90% of direct sales people are women, because there's no glass ceiling here. So when you're reaching out to people, make sure you always let them know, I'm talking to you because here's what I'm seeing. This is you're someone I look up to. I admire you. You always look amazing, and I wish that I could take you to all my parties. Maybe I always feel good when I'm with you, when we share time. You're one of my favorite customers, and I'd love to have the opportunity to work with you. So drawing those connections, that you are approaching them because you see something good in them. You can't control other people's decisions, but you can control how many people you reach out to and how many people you present your business to. You are in control of that. So make them an offer that they can't refuse. Talk to them about the kit. Now, I don't want to promote kidnapping, which I've had happen. I had my third CE was one of those. I found out she did that with all these companies. But for $99, this is not a bank breaker kind of investment to start a business. You could earn that back when you sell your first $400. You're earning back your investment. And that $99 kit is worth $200 because we're providing you with business materials and products. And the company's basically sponsoring you into the business. So helping people see, unlike other companies, this is a very inexpensive way to grow a successful business, especially with the social responsibility piece, the uniqueness of Trades of Hope in that way, and the fact that there's no auto ships, no monthly quotas. You really get to build your business around your life and your experiences and responsibilities. And I share that with everybody. So make sure that you, when you're connecting with people, that you're giving them genuine compliments. And if someone says no to you, again, that's not a bad thing. You need to be hearing no's to get to the yeses. But you can say, you know what, this business isn't for everyone. I would love to work with you, but if I tell you a little more, well, I'm sorry, let me get back here. When you're connecting with someone and they object, don't try to sell them on it. You just say, you know, I would love to have the opportunity to work with you. I think you'd be an awesome teammate, but it might not work for you. Maybe this isn't the time for you. Now, I do think that there's never a perfect season. There's never a right time. But, you know, let's stay in contact. Let's continue to, you know, party together, shop together. And maybe you're going to come across friends that you would love this, that you think would love this opportunity. And you could be a great, you know, referral source for me. But let people know why you've approached them, why you think that they would be a valuable asset to your team, why you would like to work with them. Because when you give people genuine compliments and you respond to their concern, you're being a professional. You're showing them that you care about them. So rejection is just part of it. Like I've been saying, you have to buoy your spirits by reminding yourself that you could just be one next ask away from your next recruit. So maybe you, you know, your first person says they're too busy. The second person isn't interested. The third person says, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then at the last minute doesn't buy your kit. So you could stop there and feel defeated. Or you could say, I'm going to put my big girl pants on. And I'm just going to keep asking because I didn't find the person yet. And this is part of the process. And so buoy, like I said, buoy your spirits by reminding yourself that you could be just one person away from your next CE. Don't let fear, the fear of rejection, sabotage your business, but rather choose to thank people for listening. Choose to thank them for giving you the opportunity to grow your skill and sharing the opportunity, and thank them, you know, choose to thank them for partnering with you because they have already, either as a customer or as a hostess, and say, let's just keep doing this. Let's keep changing the world together. Because, you know, like I think there's a number of people I've asked to join my team, and it wasn't for 4, 6, 12 months later before they actually joined. And so if I would have let rejection get the best of me, those girls might not be on my team today. If I would have avoided them in those months. Instead, I kept engaging them on Facebook and sending them kind things and sharing, you know, like, hey, here's a special I think you would love. I kept cultivating that relationship. And then Emily Roberts or Amy Barnick, or, you know, I have several people I can say, like, they came back later and said, I have to be a part of this. I can't not do it anymore. I can't not do it anymore. So I went long. There was a lot to do in this call. I just decided I was going to do it all, and then you can suss out. So thanks, Nancy and Michaela, for hanging on here for this. And thank you, Cindy, for coming on earlier. But like I said, I could talk for a month of Sundays about sponsoring. There's no magic bullet. There's no magic 3 steps. You just have to put yourself in a context of building relationships with people and then inviting them into the opportunity and being able to continue to cultivate relationship with them regardless of if they say yes or no. And to not take it personal. Be planning on people are going to say no. That's how you get to your yeses. And be okay with the fact not everybody is going to maybe always be as passionate about Trades of Hope as you or me, that they may come in for a while and then move on. But then it's just transitioning that person into continued relationship with our artisans and with you and your business, and being able to, you know, continue to be a friend to them. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this information is helpful for y'all. I'm going to ask people to comment below after I post this replay and share your takeaways. What was helpful? What are the things that you're going to grab onto and start processing and using in your own business? So thanks for coming on today and hearing about sponsoring and sharing your story. Hope this proves to bear fruit. Thanks, y'all.